guy, and I remember all of us sitting around. It was kind of funny, but I remember him saying something to the extent of people would say, well, "What do you play?" Everybody say, "Oh, you play cornerback? Oh, you play receiver?" No, I play running back. You know, I said it with confidence. I was quiet, didn't say much, but I was never shy. I just kind of kept to myself, didn't have much to say. That was just me. But everybody thought I played cornerback because I was so small, and they just couldn't believe that. Why would you come to Western? You got all these monsters running backs, and I just knew I couldn't wait to compete and show them why I came to play running back at Western Illinois. But shout out to all the guys, man. The first year, man, the running back crew, man. Brian Knuckles, man, he was an absolute beast. He ended up going to the NFL for a little bit, man. Brian Knuckles, shout out to you, myself, TK, Taiwan Kingsby, Ephraim Crump, Eric Rogers, man, all y'all boys, man. I really appreciate y'all being how y'all was, man. And the thing about it, though, man, I'm going to talk about Eddie Joe in a minute, though. Eddie Joe, man, my goodness, man, he blocked for, man, probably about 4,000-5,000 runs. Probably had about like 14, 13, 14, 1,500. I had a couple hundred. TK had a couple hundred. Crump had, man, we all had a lot of yards, man. So, the one and the line was off the charts. Don't get it wrong. We had a great quarterback. We had a great line, great receivers. Now, receivers blocked too. It wasn't just the line. It wasn't just the fullback, but Eddie Joe had a lot to do with that. Eddie Joe was official. He was running through folks, man. Eddie Joe, and I'm going to talk about him in a minute, man. He was the real deal. And then my second year, man, I remember Coach Ball and them being honest. Again, when a grown man come to you and be honest with you, man, you got to respect it. And I respect it to a T. I remember him coming to me, talking to me and say, "Hey, man, you had a great year. Like I said, they gave me a little bit of burn. I did what I needed to do. You know what I'm saying? But you was never going to get an opportunity to do something on another level, which is the dream of the NFL at running back. You know what I'm saying? Being 5'9", 5'10", 170 pounds. You know what I mean? He said, I think that, what's best for you, do what's best for you. You can stay at the running back position, or you can convert yourself to a receiver and try to give yourself a better look," which I should have did that from the beginning. But being bullheaded and stubborn, I was like, I'm playing running back. You know what I'm saying? But I should have listened to Coach back in the day. But anyways, I converted out to a receiver. So I stayed this summer, learned how to play receiver, and I'm gonna talk about a guy in a minute, man. I really appreciate quarterback Jeff Heslinski and some of those guys pulling me in and showing me how to play receiver, because I was converting. It wasn't very easy to do that, man. It was pretty tough, to be honest with you, but I always had pretty good hands as a running back. So, and my dream was to play in the league, so I had to do what I had to do to get where I had to get. But on top of that, I was a team guy, man. It was about the team. It was never about me. It was about the team. So I remember Coach Ball getting with me and saying, "Hey, man, look it, man, you decide what you want to do. But we're going to bring in some more running backs. If you want to play running back, all well, go ahead and knock yourself out. But if you want to try to get yourself to the next level, man, you'll be a great special teams player, but you're going to have to convert to receiver, and that's going to be a challenge for you." And he's like, "It ain't nothing you ain't never been through. This challenge is probably going to be easy for you because of you being the way you are." So, Coach Wood, I really appreciate believing in me to give me that opportunity to convert to a receiver. So, the next year, I stayed, man, and I'm going to talk about some of those guys that welcomed me in as a receiver and wasn't jealous of me. They didn't hate on me, just kind of helped me out instead of like not showing me the ropes and how to run routes and how to catch balls and things like that. Y'all welcome me in versus shutting me out, and I really appreciate y'all for doing that, man. So, I want to shout out some of the guys, man, that I played with, man, and like I said, it ain't everybody, I ain't missing nobody, but it's all Leatherneck. We all love, you know what I mean? But I remember, the guys that just, man, they was always in the backfield, the defense, man. Let me talk about some of you defensive guys a little bit first, man. I remember Saron Brown, Wayne Stewart, Big Wayne, man. Stewart, he was the real deal. True story, I ain't gonna say his name, but we had a D lineman, man. Coach Will put that, we had some guys on our team that was like the Ben Award. It was crazy. But it's what we needed. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad they was on our team, and we had a D lineman. There would be a game or two where it was cold as hell, we're freezing. And I'm telling you now, this man would piss on himself to warm up. In the game, freezing cold, and we got yellow pants on. At Western, we wore like a gold pants so you could see everything. That man was so dog, he pissed on himself to warm himself up. And I ain't want to say no name, but that's really what happened at Western Illinois. So that really show you the mind that Coach Will put into these guys, man. Like, we're going to get it done however we got to get it done. But like I said, Saron Brown was a monster, went to the NFL. Wayne Stewart was a monster on that D-line. I remember them linebackers, man, from California, man, Vince and Ty. And Vince was always that one yelling us, talking about leather, and we talking about next. He used to run us through a wall, man. So shout out to Vince Bruno, man. In that secondary, they was official, man. You had The 4-year All-American Frank Spraggins, I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. You had Donnie Caldwell, went to the NFL, man. There's a lot of guys in that secondary. That was a real deal, man. So, man, defensively, y'all was so cold-blooded, man. It was insane how great y'all was. And I'm going to go over, shout out to a lot of the guys that made it to the NFL, and mostly with defensive guys. So Western was really known for defense, and a lot of offensive guys win as well. But, man, Western, if the NFL wanted to go find some players, they just come to Western Illinois to get them boys off from the defense. So as I converted over to receiver that summer, man, you know, we had some monster running backs. We had a guy by the name of Will Barnes came in as a transfer. We had a guy by the name of Aaron Stecker that transferred in from Wisconsin. He was the real deal. He ended up running for about 2,500 yards or something like that. Went to the NFL for a long time. I think we had like 3 All-American linemen or 4. You know, shout out to them receivers, man. You know, we blocked our butts off. But, man, the bigger shot go out to me, man, is the Eddie Joe, man. Ed Joseph, man. He was a fullback that blocked for Knuckles and myself and Crump and TK and all of us the year before. And then the next year he come back and blocked for Stecker, who went for, like I said, I want to say anywhere from 24 to 2,700 yards, man, rushing. I want to say he was the Walter Payton Player of the Year or something like that. But, man, Steck was the real deal, man. He was hard to tackle. He was thick. And, like I said, Eddie ran up in there and banged everybody in the hole. And, like I said, it made us so good because, you know, Edo was taking on some of the best linebackers ever. They was all going to the NFL. And, like I said, you know, it was a game every day. But, like I said, shout out, my hats off to Eddie Joe, man. Like I said, man, I think the NFL missed out on him. I wish to God he would have got that opportunity. But like I said, he 2 years in a row, man, he blocked for all the best backs, man, and he did a really good job of doing that. I want to shout out my receiving corps, man, when I came over, man, from running back, you know what I mean, to convert. I'm going to talk about you in a minute, Thedo Griffin, my dog, man, for life. John Moffitt, Jim Farrell, shout out to you, Jim. Congrats. Jim ended up going to the NFL. Derek Spicer, little bulletproof, BJ, Vince Jackson, Pat Hutton, craziest white cat in the world, man. I'll tell you this about Pat too, man. We're gonna make it, tell you true stories. We couldn't understand, man. And I'll tell you one more thing that was funny about them Leathernecks, man. No matter what you did, Coach Ball, Coach Wood, and them folks, they made sure you wasn't gonna be out partying all night. If you did, you was gonna pay for it. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. All you Leathernecks, stand up. And y'all remember how we used to always coming down from the dorms. I was in the dorms the first year or whatever. In the morning, they come to run them 200s. All them garbage cans around. You know, when you first get there, you see like, damn, why they got these garbage cans around? If you knew, they laughing at you because you finna give it up. You know what I'm saying? And so they had garbage cans. We had 200s. They wouldn't give us no rest. It was mental toughness, man. You know what I'm saying? But I just remember coming down the dorm rooms. You can hear crickets. All you hear is lights. Cats was scared of them 200s. You know what I'm saying? But I remember this Pat Hutton, man. Pat Hutton used to get drunk. I ain't telling your business, Pat. You like a brother to me, dog. But Pat used to get drunk all the time and tear us a new one in them 200s. I don't know how the hell he used to drink all the time and kick it. But Pat Hutton in the morning, them 200s, right at the front of the pack. Him not winning them all, winning most of them, man. But shout out to Pat Hutton, man. He was a real feisty friend of mine, man. We talk to this day daily. Pat Hutton, really good dude, man. Very misunderstood, man. Great dude. Always keep in touch with everybody. Always love and welcome everybody. But in college, man, you was a wild one, man. You did a whole bunch of stuff. I went home with you a couple of times too, man. You was buck wild, man. So shout out to you, Pat Hutton, man, for that, man. But like I said, I want to thank the whole receiving corps for welcoming me in, man, and give me an opportunity to try to live out a dream, man. And I really appreciate that. So with that being said, thank you, Leathernecks, for doing that, man. So I talked about Buck Phillips a little bit, man. Talked about Lou. The next person I want to talk about is Donnie Caldwell, man. Donnie was a G, man. Donnie was the real deal. Donnie wore number 21. He played corner a little bit. He played safety. Donnie was really, really smart, and Donnie was ahead of his time, man. Donnie was, grew up, from around the way, a little rough and things like that. But when Donnie came in, he just stepped right in and made himself on the field. You couldn't keep him off the field. You couldn't keep Donnie off the field. And like I said, on the next segment, when I talk about them, when I zoom with those folks, I want to give them that platform. I don't want to talk about them too much. I want to talk about what they meant to me and how they made me feel. And what I'm saying, I really appreciate these men that I'm talking about for being a brother to me, man. You know what I'm saying? When you looked at different most of your life because of your size or because of where you come from or because of your color, because of these different things, for you folks, guys to do that with me, man, and love me like your brother, man. And now 20 years later, we talk and we laugh and we giggle. We talk about our families, man. That's personal to me and it means something to me, man. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm on this on this Chop It Up with Coco, man, to celebrate y'all. I'm celebrating the ones that I love. I'm celebrating the ones that was there for me, man, and y'all was really there for me. So I really, really, really appreciate y'all being the way y'all was with me. With that being said, Donnie, you was a real one, man. You always was cool in the fan, man. I really appreciate you being cool. We kicked it and did a lot of little bitty different things, but we got some stories that I want to ask you about when we get on that Zoom and then make it fun, man. You know what I mean? But shout out to Donnie Caldwell, man. He was a real deal. Ended up going to the NFL. Should have played a long, long, long time, man. But Donnie could play anything. He was a receiver, punt returner, kick returner, probably one of the best athletes that I'd ever seen. Shout out to you, Donnie, you and your family, man. I'll get with you on that Zoom and to let you tell your side because I want you to talk for yourself. But I just wanted to tell you, appreciate you being who you is. Next person I want to talk about, man, I hold him dear to my heart, man. Thedo Griffin, man. He was one of the main guys when I converted from a running back over to a receiver. He was one of the main guys that welcomed me in. Thedo's from the New Orleans area. Real light-skinned and handsome dude. All the girls loved him. Said Thedo. He was the first person that wore his hats down low on his face. And like I said, he was quiet off the field. Like the best way to talk about Thedo, man. Thedo, he ain't gonna take the wrong with that. That's my brother for life, man. It's like he had multiple personalities, meaning this. Off the field, he don't, man, say nothing. I'm talking about quiet, mute. A lot of us was kind of like that. But he was just real, real quiet. The person you saw off the field was not the person you saw on the field. And I'll tell you a little story about Thedo in a minute. And like I said, I'm gonna wait to get him on the Zoom too and let him tell his side. But I want to talk about him right here. I want to celebrate him, man. I want his friends and his family. I want his kids, his wives, to know what kind of man he was. Man, he was an official, real one. You know what I mean? Thedo welcomed me in. Great athlete, great receiver. He showed me a lot of things, how to play receiver, how to run my routes, how to catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? And he always, he did a lot of dirty work too, man. Thedo was fast as hell. You know what I mean? He blew the top off the defense all the time. I ain't seen nobody run with him. Thedo was every bit of 4'3". You know what I'm saying? And he was built like a receiver. He was everything in the world, man. He just never really got... we were a running team, you know what I mean? We was team oriented, and he was never selfish. He was never mad about, us running the ball down people's throat. I mean, you got 3 or 4 linemen that are All-American. You got an All-American running back that's off the charts. What else do you do? You know what I'm saying? We played receiver. We did our job. We blocked. And like I said, one thing I remember about Thedo most, man, if you was a big old corner, he'll run up on you and block you. But if you was his size or a little bigger, he was going to and disrespect you to the ground and drive you to your sideline and land on you and let you know about it. But Thedo wasn't gonna bite his tongue and not say nothing ever when he got in that uniform. Like, one thing about him, man, he was a straight up dog. Like I said, a lot of people, back then probably, and this is my opinion, I never really, I can't speak for other people, but I seen it. But a lot of people probably was a little jealous of him. Thedo was handsome. You know what I'm saying? He was cool. He was vibing, but Thedo will put them things on you so quick, man. So with that being said, he was misunderstood, man. You know how they always say little things about light-skinned guys. Thedo wasn't the one. Thedo wasn't the one. So you couldn't pull it with him. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter how big he was, how little, man. He had your back. But Thedo put them hands on your ass real, real quick. So with that being said, man, Thedo was official to me. Forever brotherhood, man. That's one guy I'm gonna remember, man. He welcomed me in and showed me a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that boy should have been on playing on Sundays, man. But Thedo, man, much love to you, man. I want your kids and your family to know, man, one of the best receivers that I've ever been around. And I really appreciate you not being selfish and welcome me in, switching positions and maybe stealing a little limelight from you. You didn't care about that. You was in for the team, man. So for me, I recognize that. For me, I remember that. For me, thank you so much for not having that jealousy and envy in your heart to look at me a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You welcome me, stay with me, work on me extra. You know what I'm saying? You did a lot of different things for me, man. So like I said, we forever got a brotherhood, man. But I want to thank you for me converting over, for you to grab me, put your arm around me and show me a lot of stuff that I needed to know to help our team be more successful. So I can't wait to get you on the Zoom, man. Let them hear about you, man. I got things I want to ask. I got stories, man, and only you can tell. So I'm going to take that from them. I'm going to wait till we get on the Zoom and go about it that way. The next person I want to talk about, I talked about him a little bit already, but I'm just going to touch on him real quick, man. Ed Josephs, man. I already talked about him blocking for, the running backs, the first year. And then the second year with Stecker, etc. You know what I mean? Like, I want to say, it remind me of Neal. I want to say his name, Lorenzo Neal, played for the Chargers for a long time. Big old dude, the big old head, just run up in there on any linebacker. He run up on anybody. It didn't matter, DNs, linebackers. He loved that challenge. And that's one person, man, that I pray to God, man, I knock on wood, but I pray to God he don't come up with something wrong with his head, because Eddie used to run up on everybody. Every single play, Eddie Joe was hitting somebody. He was a DN, a D tackle, a linebacker. And I'm telling you, at Western, we had the most official linebackers, the most official defensive guys, and they was running up in there trying to prove a point. Eddie was about, man, I want to say 240, 250 and solid, thick. You know what I'm saying? So he did a lot of dirty work, man. But Eddie Joe, man, I want you to know I really appreciate you being what you was to me. I remember, like I said, everybody laughed at me, man, when I first got to Western. There ain't no shot at my guys. We all brothers. But how could you not laugh at a guy that's 5'9", 5'10", about 160 pounds? You know what I'm saying? It's just, don't judge a book by its cover, but you one of the only ones that didn't laugh, dog. I remember you perfectly, grabbed me and be like, man, we straight. I got you. Just follow me, Big Ed, and I got you. And you did that. Everything you told me you was going to do, you did it, man. So I'm sure all them running backs that you blocked for, I'm sure I'm saluting them, thanking you for doing what you did, and I'm sure they're feeling the same way, because like I said, man, you looked out for me like kind of like a big brother, man, and I'll forever thank you for that, man. I'm glad you're doing real well in your life, and I can't wait to get you on the Zoom so everybody can see, the world can see what you've become. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, shout out to your boy, man. Y'all used to kick it so hard, man. Y'all was so tight. You and King, man. You wasn't going to see one without the other, man. Shout out to you too, King, man. Nobody forgot about you, dog. So with that being said, man, I look forward to getting on the Zoom with you, Eddie Joe, and letting you talk about you and things like that, man. You did a lot of dirty work that, it didn't go unnoticed for me, and I'm sure it didn't go unnoticed for all your running backs that you blocked for, because like I said, them boys went to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Brian Knuckles went and Stecker went. So with that being said, the NFL missed out on an unbelievable fullback. I wish that you had got that opportunity, because you would have played a very long time. You was made for that. God make everybody for something, and nigga, you was a fullback. Peeling everybody's caps, man. You was beating the brakes off whoever ran up in that hole on you, man. So I applaud you for that, Eddie Joe. The last person I want to talk about, man, Mr. Entertaining, man. This guy was so misunderstood. Me and this guy became real close, man. This guy was unbelievable. Probably one of the best Western Illinois Leathernecks ever to play at Western Illinois. And so that's just for debate, for coaches and teammates and things like that. But this next guy I'm going to talk about, man, I'm going to end it with him, and I'm going to give some shouts out to a lot of those guys that played in the NFL out of Western. The last guy I'm going to talk about right now, and like I said, I ain't forget about none of my Leathernecks, man. These are guys, I don't want to have it a real long thing. I just want to talk about, a few of us, but like I said, we'll come back with it, comment on it, and we'll come back, open it for discussions and things like that. But the last person I want to talk about is Frank Spraggins, man, Frank J. Frank J, man, unique character, man. Frank was the real deal, man. Frank, people misunderstood Frank, you know what I mean? And I compare Frank, man. I talk to the fellas all the time, and even back then when I got to Western, Frank would tell you how it was. Frank was from St. Louis, East St. Louis. So was Lou. They was all from there, and them were the realest cats you ever seen. If they had your back, they had your back. You know what I'm saying? You was cool with them, you was cool with them. But Frank J was different. And I want to say that I got to defend my mans on this end right here. Because like I said, until you know him, people felt a certain way about Frank J. Frank J was an official real one. I'm talking about for reals. And so my thing was this, man. I didn't know him at first. I would see the cat around campus, and he always wear All-American hats. You know what I mean? Frank will let you know, I'm Frank J. I'm going to be playing on Sundays. I'm going to do this. I'm doing that. But my thing is this, man. What's the difference? We all love Deion Sanders. You know what I'm saying? Deion Sanders is probably one of the best athletes. Is probably the best player ever to play in the NFL. To me, I just loved everything about him. Like me, I wasn't loud. I wasn't jumping up and down. I wasn't letting people know. I just kind of did it silently. You know what I'm saying? But I love people who do it like Deion Sanders and do it like Frank Spraggins, Frank J. Deion will let you know what he gonna do and do it. To me, that's extremely interesting. For me, I love seeing somebody talk it, but back it up even better than what they talked. And that was Deion Sanders and that was Frank Spraggins. So to the world, that people that had a problem with Frank Spraggins, which I don't think a lot did, what's the difference with Deion Sanders and Frank Spraggins? You know what I mean? Deion Sanders told everybody who he was and we loved him. Frank Spraggins tell everybody who he was, and some people had a problem with it. So if you had a problem with it, man, shame on you, because the boy was the real deal. He was good. He told us all. He let us know what it was. Like I said, he wore All-American hats, but how could you blame him? He was a 4-year All-American. You know what I'm saying? Probably the best overall athlete at Western ever, to be honest with you. So with that being said, that's up for debate. Again, it ain't no knock on nobody. It ain't saying somebody else is this and saying somebody else that. But overall, that's for them coaches to decide. You know what I'm saying? But Frank Spraggins, man, war number 9. The boy was the real deal, man. That's one that the NFL missed on, definitely. He should have been playing, you know what I mean? And it ain't got nothing to do with him being cocky and his arrogance and things like that. He was a ball hawking playmaker. If you cut on any highlights in any years at Western Illinois, you're going to see number 9 running around, flying around. He'll hit anybody, make any tackle, make any play, make any interception. He was one of the best Leathernecks ever to play at Western Illinois. Frank J., a.k.a. Frank Spraggins, number 9. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, Frank J, man, you know, I ended up doing a lot of things with you even after we left Western. We trained together. We did a lot of things together, man. I got a chance to know who you was as a man, as a human being, man. And like I said, one of the realest. So, you know, you grew on me so much, man. And like I said, you know, a lot of folks didn't know you. I got a chance to know you. Let me in your life, and I really, really appreciate you doing that, man. You was one of the realest I've ever seen in my lifetime, man. Like I said, you know, when we get on this Zoom, I want to know who made you that way and why you made that way. And I'm doing it with all the guys that I'm talking about. I want this platform for you to talk about, you know, talk to the world about, you know, your kids and your family and friends, because some folks don't really realize how great y'all was. You know what I mean? So for me, being a brother of yours, for somebody that witnessed it and seen how good y'all was, I want y'all to, I want them to know and see what y'all was made of. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the Zoom with y'all, and then if we got some highlights of these guys that I've talked about, we're gonna put them up and let y'all see, like, wow, y'all mind's gonna be blown how unbelievable these guys was, man. So with that being said, Frank Spraggins, Frank J, my dog, man, I gotta talk about one little story we had, man, that was too funny, man. I never seen Frank sweat. You know what I mean? That's one thing Frank was made of. Like, never let him see you sweat. He just gonna always keep it the same way, keep it G no matter what. I remember one time, man, we was traveling, me and him, man. It was just me and him, he was driving. For the first time in my life, I seen Frank scared, and it cracked me up because, you know, he never showed that. You know, Frank always was ready for whatever, whenever. And I remember we was traveling one time, man, and up in that area, Peoria, up in that area of Western, just that area we was traveling, we always had tornadoes and things like that. So if y'all not from up north, and y'all don't know nothing about no tornadoes, man, tornadoes will scare the hell out you. So me and Frank got caught in one time. You know what I'm saying? It was unannounced, and I remember riding with the dude, man. He still kept it so smooth. We was riding back, and we got hit, and it was dark. You can hear the train. It was like we probably was 10 to 5 miles from a real official tornado. A tornado will grab a tornado will grab where we come from, semi truck and throw it like a little Barbie pin. So with that being said, we was riding, man, and we see like hundreds of cars pulled off in the little ditches because it was raining hard. We couldn't see it in the windshield wiper. It got dark, and we was really either about to go into it or was getting away from it. Either or. I looked at this dude, man, and I looked him in his face, man, and he didn't want to pull over. He looked at me. I looked at him. I said, man, what you want to do? You want to pull off in the ditch or you want to keep it moving? He said, he looked at me. He looked forward. He looked at me. He leaned back and was like, man, we finna just keep it moving. But the look at his face for the first time in my life, Frank Spraggins, if you said you wasn't scared, you lying, G. You still kept it smooth, though. You still kept it cool. But for the first time, I was scared just for the simple fact that I thought our life was on the line. Like, you don't know what it's like to have your life on the line, man. And like I said, it was raining so hard. The car was moving. We just kept it moving. We was going slow. And everybody else was pulled off in the ditches. But I just laughed so hard, man, because like I said, you was such a G. You know what I'm saying? And even in that time, you just never showed a weakness, man. I really applaud you, man. You became one of my best of friends, and I want to appreciate you, man. Like I said, when we went on and did our thing, man, wherever you went on the team, you called and brought me with you, man, and we got down. You know what I mean? So shout out to Frank Spraggins, man. Everybody, like I said, misunderstood you, but I knew who you was, and your for real friends knew who you was, man. So I really applaud you for that. So with that being said, man, Coach Ball, Coach Wilt, all you coaches from the Leathernecks, man, I really thank y'all so much for being the way y'all was, man. And I want to go ahead and give some shots out to a lot of these guys. Coach Ball had a lot of guys under his tenure, man. And so, you know, I wanna, you know, when I get him on this Zoom, man, I got some questions for him, man. And like I said, he changed a lot of people's lives. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, him looking me in my face and giving me that opportunity as a man, that's all I could ask him for. And he was so motivational, man. Coach Ball, man, you know what I'm saying? He was the type that, You know, if he said let's jump off the entire Empire State Building, we was jumping, all of us, and we wasn't hesitating, not even a little bit. He was a great motivational speaker. He did a good job of getting us fired up. You know, man, by the time he was done talking, man, we had goosebumps and we was all running into each other, ready to get out that locker room and get somebody to business. So with that being said, man, I want to talk about a few of the guys. Just congratulate them, man, because like Western probably don't get enough credit, man. There's a lot of NFL guys that played in the NFL that came out of Western Illinois, man, especially mainly the defensive guys, but it was a lot of guys. But under Coach Ball watch, man, I want to talk about a few of the guys that made it, man, and I'm happy for y'all. And under his watch, there were over 40 guys that played under Coach Ball that went to the NFL from Western Illinois, the Division I AA school out of Macomb, Illinois. One of my teammates that played tight end in college, but he ended up playing as an O-lineman for the Giants for a while. His name was Rich Sherbert. You had Aaron Stecker, played running back at Western, played in the league for a while. You had Gunnar Twiner, receiver, played in the NFL for a while. Now, I'm not mistaken, I think he's a coach now in the NFL. Congrats to that, Gunnar. Keep doing your thing, man. Donnie Caldwell ended up playing in the league for a while. He played safety. You had Cyron Brown. Those just some of the guys that I played with, knew of them at that time. So Western had a lot of them, man. You know, there's a lot of big names, and it ain't name dropping. It's just I'm proud to be a Leatherneck. I'm proud of these guys that people don't really realize where they came from, you know. And so, you know, I know Coach Ball had Brian Cox, who went on to be who he was. Rodney Harrison, you know what I'm saying, the Super Bowls, and, you know, the man in the Hall of Fame. You got Don Beebe, you got Frank Winters, man, and like I said, there's hundreds of guys who we all see on Sundays. We know who they are, but people don't really realize they went to Western Illinois. They're Leathernecks, so shout out to them Leathernecks, man. You know what I'm saying, for doing what y'all doing, but for the most part, I had to talk about the guys that meant something to me, the guys that really influenced me in a certain way back then, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, forever brotherhood. I want to thank y'all for being the way y'all was. We was all unique. We was all kind of molded the same. And like I said, it seems like that Coach Ball knew what he was doing. He went and got us all because, like I said, we had a small window to get what we wanted to get, and we just needed a platform. And Coach Ball understood we needed that platform, and we was going to do what we had to do to get what we were trying to get. So thank you so much for that, Coach Ball, for coming in my living room, man, looking me in my face and being straight up with me, man. You've touched a lot of guys' lives. You've done a lot of things for a lot of people. But for all you Leathernecks, man, it's forever brotherhood. And I'm really proud to say that I'm a Leatherneck, man. So with that being said, thank y'all so much from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to talk about y'all so that y'all friends and y'all's families, y'all's kids know who y'all was and what y'all was about. Thank y'all so much, man, for that. And just go ahead on and subscribe to my page. Just go subscribe, and then I'm going to put a bell on it so whenever I put out other material, y'all can go ahead on and know what's going on. But from the bottom of my heart, man, it felt amazing. I never made no mistakes, and I'm so glad to have gone to Western Illinois to be a Leatherneck. Shout out to all my Leathernecks.